And just like that, we're live. Magic of the internet. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Sarah.
All right, folks, watching this while we dilly-dally and wait for people to find us. I am Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and we love tarot here, if you didn't know, at the Sisters Enchanted. And Sharon is one of our community members and has taken our tarot programs, but is a tarot reader extraordinaire in her own right also. And what I wanted to have Sharon come on and talk about today in particular was kind of her journey into reading tarot, because I feel like that there are, in our world, there's lots of stereotypes and stigma and like who we would expect to do certain things, right? And you're definitely one of those people that folks would probably look at you and be like, well, she would not be in the tarot bucket, but yet you are in the tarot bucket.
So yeah, like so all in the bucket.
You're like, my house is a tarot bucket.
Yes, like I have shelves of decks.
Taking over. So let me do a little housekeeping here. If you are in the comments, and right now there's just a few people here, I'm sure folks are gonna find it anytime now with the delay and it going live and whatnot. But those who are here, and I'll say this again as we start to have some more people joining us, we have Anna in the comments as the Sisters Enchanted. Sometimes she'll comment as Anna, sometimes the Sisters Enchanted, but she'll always say that her name is Anna, and it'll say Team TSE for the Sisters Enchanted after her name. So if you have any questions, she's here to help. We'll probably have our program director, Sarah Milne, checking in, Christina Boos, who is part of our student support team. So all sorts of folks in the comments to help you out if you have questions or need, if we say anything and you're like, do you hear the construction, Sharon?
Yes.
It's so loud. It's so loud. I'm sorry. I hope that
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, people aren't going to be like, I can't listen to you. Your construction's too loud. It's not mine. It's upstairs. But so we do have lots of folks in the comments who can help out here and with any questions, or if we say something and you need a link. And I do apologize for the loud background noise. Doing the best I can. I got foam all around me trying to deaden the noise, and it's just not helping. Anyway, okay, so Sharon.
Yeah.
You are an unexpected tarot reader, I think.
Yeah, I think you would think so on the outside looking in.
I know. Well, what's interesting, because like I'm probably an unexpected tarot reader to people who would just meet me, you know, but then once you get to know me, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, just about you in general. Like, say hello. Tell the folks who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Sharon Blue. And I started my business, Blue Empress Tarot, just a little over a year ago, which is crazy to me to even be able to say. So I live in St. Louis, which is like the belly button of the US, I guess.
That's so funny that you say that. I always say, well, Christina, you know, our Christina here, she's in New Jersey, our student support. And we always say here in Connecticut that that's like the armpit of America.
There you go. The belly button and the armpit are in the armpit up. But yeah, so it's a super duper Catholic town. So I went to daycare that was run by Carmelite nuns. Who did not want to go to Sister Benedicta's office. And then K through 8 was Catholic school, and then I went to an all-girl Catholic high school. Like the town is very set up that way. And I grew up in an Italian family, very Catholic. And I've always just been that weird one that was asking questions, and they're like, shh. Don't stop asking questions. So I was just like, okay, well, if I can't ask you questions, then let me go get me a tarot deck and I'll ask my tarot questions. You know, I got my first deck in high school.
Yeah, you did. I don't know if I knew that.
I
think you might have mentioned that before, actually, now that I'm hearing it.
Yeah, my first deck in high school. And then I have a master's in school counseling. And I always was interested in psychology and how people think and the questions again. And I was a school counselor for 7 years. And on the outside, you would think like, okay, wife, mom, school counselor, she works in education. And then like underneath the surface, I'm like bringing tarot decks to school and being like to coworkers, you want a reading? You want a reading?
It's so good. So good. I remember when, because I used to be a teacher and then I had like a private practice and education field, but I'd work with kids, and like the high school girls in particular were always, like, especially the last few years of my business that I had, when tarot and like witch stuff was like really becoming popular. And these kids, like I had a couple of students in particular who had like a tarot deck, and they would have it in their backpack. And I'd be like, oh, I read tarot. And then suddenly I was very cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I couldn't do a whole lot around the middle schoolers because some of the parents.
Yeah.
But, you know, lunch breaks and after school, for sure.
It. Okay. So in your story, I know that you no longer work in a school.
Nope.
And also you own Blue Empress Tarot, and you do tarot reading and tarot coaching and guidance and like incorporate all this stuff together. Mm-hmm. What was it like? So a lot of people, I'm sure, who are going to watch this now or later might have that question, like, okay, so I work in an office, or I work in a store, or I work here, I work there. How does one just go from working in a school to being a tarot reader? How does one do that?
I feel like the answer is going to be different for every person. First off, I think for me, I transitioned from counselor to stay-at-home mom to take care of both of my kids, and I was just drowning being a stay-at-home mom because it is so lonely and so isolating. Yeah. And so tarot was like that one thing that kept me afloat and kept giving me perspective and perception on my life. And so I was using that so much that that's what brought me back from the brink. And then over quarantine and stuff, just continuing to be doing readings for people on Zoom, they were like, you should start charging for this. So I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's really just about finding your people, finding the people that are interested in getting readings from you, finding your specific way of doing it that resonates with them.
Yeah.
And just doing it.
Yeah. I think that like one of the things that really sticks out to me and you doing readings is, so you completed our tarot, you are in our tarot coach program. And have been going through the materials and incorporating that into what you're doing. But even before that, I think what made you stand out as a tarot reader was that you right away put your own spin on it, using what you already knew to be true. And I know how powerful that is, because that's also what we do here, like with our tarot throwdown class, tarot coach. Yes. Because I was a teacher, and then I had a different business, and then the Sisters Enchanted, and I was in like a like similar but different story to you, but where I worked for a small business and I was laid off, basically. My choice was like be laid off or drive an hour and 20 minutes to work. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So it was to lay me off at 7 months pregnant. And then I found myself having to figure out how to make money. And then the rest is like a whole other story. But what's interesting is I took what I already knew. Like I already knew certain things about just education and how I would teach it and how I did tarot, rather than focusing so much on what somebody else says, the way that it's supposed to be done. And I think that's what made you successful, because you have had paying clients consistently and regularly since you started reading for folks.
Yes, I started doing subscription services like right at the beginning of 2021, and all of my subscription clients have already told me they want to renew for next year. And I already had one who was like, can I just pay you now? Like, I know I'm not due for renewal until February, but can I just pay you now? I'm like, sure.
This is so awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. And and honestly, like I see, so we've taught like over 5,000 people tarot specifically in our tarot classes. And a lot of people want to be tarot readers or help other people. And I really think that with you, it was just not worrying about doing it right or what other people said it should look like, and just coming up with, well, this is what I know. And this is how I know how to communicate. And this is like, I know that I'm a mom who struggled with these things. I also have these other experiences. And how can, like, I can uniquely relate to folks on the other side of a Zoom or an email or a table or whatever by just using yourself and your story.
Yeah. I mean, those swords cards, I have a special relationship with those sword cards because I'm always in my head too. So like, I think I combine the two so nicely that it's not scary. It's not a scary thing to come and sit down in front of a tarot reader. Like over 85% of my clients have never had tarot readings before. And then they come to me and they're like, oh, okay, I would do this again. Because it's not like super scary. It's not like you're going to die in 5 months. It's learning how to see yourself in a different way, learning how to recognize your strengths, and then how to use those strengths to overcome your obstacles and challenges.
Yeah. So when you first started, because I know you had your first tarot deck when you were a teenager, and then you took our tarot classes also. So what did you use from that instead of getting stuck in like, you know, how do I read the perfect way for people? Because that really is what holds people back. Like that is and I mean, you're in our different groups, so I'm sure you see it too. That is really the thing.
Tarot Throwdown, Tarot Journey, Tarot Coach.
All the things.
All the things.
But that is really like what holds people back is this right? Or am I doing it right? And even when trying to read for other people, it's the fear that you're not going to do it right. So you already had an experience in a relationship with tarot. Then you took our class and then you were reading professionally somewhere along the way. So what was the thing that, like, what could you say to somebody who's just really like stuck on doing it right or holding themselves back because of it?
I mean, so honestly, I was reading tarot for so long, and then I took your guys' classes July of 2020, and then I started my business August of 2020. So it was like boom, boom. Like the biggest thing was everything you say about using intuition. Because it's not about memorizing card meanings. It's about looking at the context and seeing the story in the cards, seeing the bigger picture. And then to me, it's going a level deeper and saying, okay, well, if this is the story that the cards are telling me of what's happening in your life, then let me pull from those counseling skills in my back pocket and try to give you some tools and techniques that you can use to help with what you need to do to solve this mess that's in front of you. So it's just combining those things, but using that intuition, that was the biggest thing, because it's like, trust what your gut is telling you to say and not what the meaning of the card is traditionally, because it's not always the same when you're reading for other people.
Right. So true. And I really think that it's like such an easy thing to say. And then for people to let go enough to do it, you know, it's like, I wish I could reach through the computer to like everybody and put my hands on their shoulders if they'll let me and say, just like, what are you thinking right now? Say it out loud.
Yes. And no matter how weird it sounds.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always have to warn my clients because I speak in like spirit speaks to me in pop culture. So I see like movie scenes or TV shows or like characters or songs. And then if they've never seen the movie, I have to explain the movie premise, to explain the scene and why it's important. But
it's like Anna's always got some kind of like thing where I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I'm really lame and don't know anything that's happening.
But you gotta go with it, because like I'll mention a movie and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that was so-and-so's favorite movie and they always used to tell me this, and I haven't been listening to that advice lately, blah blah blah.
Yes, so good. There are Anna's like songs. Christina's saying yes, Sharon. All right, here we do have a question.
Okay.
Here Lynette is asking, or no, Julie's asking, how do you handle feeling like a fraud all the time when talking from your gut? So do you want to first?
Basically you just you have to have faith in yourself and you have to believe in yourself. So I'm not going to say that it doesn't kill me when I do a reading and someone says, well, this makes no sense to me. Yeah. Like totally knife in the heart, twist. Yeah, 100%. That happens all the time, but you always have a choice. That's my thing I always used to say to my middle schoolers, and I have to take my own advice all the time, is you always have a choice in how you see the situation. You can let this one moment of doubt and fear define you and prevent you from making changes that you want to make in your life. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to bet on me and what my gut is telling me. And I know that I know this, and I know that I'm good, and I know that I can help people and move forward with that. So yeah, you just have to trust in yourself and believe in yourself. Bet on you.
Yeah, definitely. So Sharon and we've chatted just in group settings and lots like over the past year year now. So we've talked about this, and I share a lot just at the Sisters Enchanted, how and all the folks watching this and that will watch on the replay, how easy it is to think that it's just easy for us, and then like myself, who've been on camera constantly for 5 years and whatever. But y'all don't see our DMs and our inbox when folks are like, I hate you and I'm raging out because I'm having a bad day at something you said, and how it's not, and it really is betting on yourself, being your own best friend. And it does, like, I think one of the things that seems like just such a cliche thing that it's like so popular now, but like mindset work and talking to yourself, but it really is, that really is the thing that you gotta, you just got to remind yourself, I'm changing the world, and the right people will be changed by it. And then when somebody really is like, like that makes no sense, or why did I pay for this, or like, whatever somebody says, that it really does say more about them than you, because 100%. Even if something doesn't resonate, because I've had readings where like sometimes when we've done psychic fairs and things, and I've just walked around, because it's also fun to go to a psychic fair and just like do all the tables. Oh yeah. And I've got where people have said stuff to me, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense to me, and it's not relevant whatsoever. But I also know, like, okay, well, that's how they're seeing it. It's up for me to translate that into something that's relevant for me. Like, I paid for this. It's up to me to make that make sense for me. That's not that person's job. And some folks, though, just aren't there,
for sure.
Not your fault at all. Yeah. I never forget, I had a reading by somebody, and she was like, I see this big black dog, and it's like, it's just taking up your whole bed and sleeping between you and your husband. And I was like, little do you know, my husband loathes pets. Like, we have 2 small white cats, and he is like, he's like not a pet person. So it's like a family struggle every day, just having 2 small white cats. And we definitely don't have a big black dog. Like, she was so confident, because I was really trying. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't. And she was like, well, maybe it's like a metaphorical dog. And I was like,
like the grim.
Yeah. That's what I was like. Great. Like, what if I got like a hellhound in my house? Is that what this is? That would explain some things. But really, like, it was on me though, not to be mad at her and say like, I think no sense, we don't have a dog, but because she was so confident, like, oh, I see the big black dog that sleeps between you. And I was like, wrong house. Like, my neighbors don't have dogs, I don't have a dog. Definitely wrong house.
Have you tried shining a light on that shadow?
Yeah. I know. But like, so anyway, for those folks who, like, when it feels scary, like, how do you just do it? It's and Gia's saying that to shut up the imposter syndrome, and for
it
sure.
Is real. Yeah. It is real. Let me tell you,
it happens to me too.
I have a vendor event that I'm doing here in St. Louis this weekend, and I went to go set up for it. It is a massive event. Like, these event planners do this event nationally. They just travel and do this same show in like multiple cities. It's like a big thing. And I was lucky enough to get a little booth set up, and they're setting up everything. And I'm looking at, they have like bikes that are covered in flowers on top of walls. And I'm just like, I have a table and some tarot cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is real. The imposter syndrome is real, but like, I had a conversation with the event coordinator yesterday, and I was like, I know I'm small, but I'm mighty. And people will walk away from my booth and they will be like, I am so glad that I stopped for that 15 minutes and got that message because I needed to hear that, or I needed that kick in the pants, or I needed that reassurance or encouragement or whatever. So like, you have to trust that what you're giving is more important to the world than your fear. Yeah. Like you always say, the stuff that's on the other side of your fear is so much better.
I do say
where
that.
You sit. Always keep that in mind. I'm like,
all the good stuff's on the other side of fear, everything. And like, and whatever. And you know what's so interesting too about tarot? So this is another thing. And so I have like two, so I'll talk about this. And then I want to ask you before we go too, just about how we're kind of talking about this. So remind me if I forget to come back, but how people, like in your family or friends, or if you got any pushback in that area, because we get that question a lot too. Yeah. And so the idea of asking questions of other folks, that's what we do in our tarot coach program. And it made me think of you in the kick in the pants also, and how we also in that program teach folks to use tarot for helping others to see their truth. So, and this reminded me of the fear. My head just went in like a weird thought pattern and forgot everything I was talking about as I was talking about it, but I'm coming back to it now. So when we're like, you already know, so often we go for a tarot reading or people come to you or like we get them or whatever, because we know the answer, but it's uncomfortable. We like, don't want that to be the answer, or we're really afraid of actually facing that answer. So, and all the best stuff is on the other side of fear. It really is. And it's just that we have to have the confidence and the, betting on yourself to move through it. And that's what I love about what we do in Tarot Coach. And when you incorporate this in your work, is helping other people with tarot to see their own answer rather than giving them the answer, and helping them to see that they have like talk themselves into, okay, I can do this. I can get through this. I can get to the other side of this fear. So do you ever have, or do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, so I am officially Tarot Coach certified, and I love the Tarot Coach approach. It is so unique. Like I have my subscription clients, and I'm going to be doing packages with the Tarot Coach as well to do add-ons, because so many of my clients are ready and willing to do that deeper work, that deeper shadow work. They just don't know how. And so many people don't want to go see a counselor. They don't want to see a therapist and feel judged and all of that jazz, but they'll come see a tarot reader. So the Tarot Coach really gives them that insight into their own psyche, into their own self-limiting beliefs, into their own fears, and what's standing in their way, how they are standing in their own way of moving forward. And the Tarot Coach technique really helps them to kind of bring that stuff to light and deal with it and get over the fear. Basically, it helps them journey through the fear to the other side.
Yeah. And what you mentioned, so folks who are watching this who might have interest in being a tarot reader, or maybe you already are one, or you're like, how do I do more of this? What I love about it too is, as you mentioned with your packages and subscriptions, it really is a great way to have a sustainable living, doing something that really is helping people. Because so often folks, and we've all probably done this to some extent, maybe not exactly this, but in some way, whether it's just calling up 5 different friends with this, looking for advice from 5 different people, or going to 5 different tarot readers, but really looking for someone to give us the answer. Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do here. And a tarot reading, so many people get them for that. Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do. And then in the end, it maybe helps them in that moment. But then an hour later, they're just like, oh, here's that fear again. Here's the thing that's uncomfortable, the discomfort. And now I'm right back where I was. And to really help somebody change their life, there is another layer to tarot reading, and that's what you do. And that's a great way to have a sustainable practice, because tarot readers most often undercharge. And it is, I don't want to say it's challenging to get reoccurring readings, but it's challenging to get reoccurring readings, I think, that feel fulfilling for the tarot reader.
Yes.
Because at some point when somebody asks you the same question in 5 different ways over a 2-month time period, and you're like, I don't want to answer this question anymore. And then you start to have thoughts like, is it even ethical for me to keep answering this question and taking their money? And it's a way to really, really help people and have a sustainable business, because tarot readers should not be undercharging and should be able to pay their bills.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah.
To pay for the daycare for
well, and too, like, as with any service worker, I mean, I think we realize this with like doctors or physicians and therapists and whatnot. Like, they're talking to you, and you're likely on their mind at some point in time where they're remembering you, thinking of you, like carrying that around with you. Teachers, like, you know, you worked in school, I worked in school, you're carrying the heaviness of the people you work with all the time. And a tarot reader is no different.
Oh yeah, same.
It's no different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I approach my tarot reading business pretty much the exact same way I approached my school counseling career. I see my clients as, you know, like, I have case files. Case files for all of my clients where I'm keeping up with what they're doing, what their other reading said, what this reading said, what this reading said, what they're actively working on to help keep them accountable. So it's like, I'm helping them with that transformation and that change, but they're the ones doing the work.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is. You're giving them so much more than just information and clarity. You're giving them a whole new perspective on life and the ability to make changes in their life that are long lasting. And that's why they will come back, because you're giving them something that's sustainable. That's not just an in the moment, you know, here's a piece of candy. Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to, again, trust in yourself, trust in your abilities. And like, I'll say to clients that sometimes they'll come to me and they'll have a specific question, and I'll say, well, let's see what the cards have to say that first. Yeah. And I'll do just a basic Celtic cross, because sometimes what they're asking about is not what they need to be worrying about or focusing on or dealing with at the moment. And it's more meaningful to them.
Yeah. I love it.
Don't be afraid to take over the reading. And
yes. Yeah, we do. We get that question a lot in our tarot classes too, is like, what if people ask me X, Y, and Z, and it's some question that you know is not the right question? Oh, yeah. And I love that you said that. Don't be afraid to take it over.
Again, counselor background comes in and they'll ask me a yes or no question. I'm like, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to reframe that into an open-ended question and make it about what you need to be doing, as opposed to, is he going to take me back or whatever.
No, you know, it's a skill. It's an important skill, and it's a skill that will help you in all areas of life too. So like I talk so much about just how tarot, like, you can learn to read tarot, or you can like take our tarot coach program and learn that or whatever, but the skills you learn in doing it are applicable to everywhere. Just like learning to ask better questions, learning to look at things in a different way. And I mean, I use that every day just in work and life when people ask me for something and I'm like, that's not the right question. There's something else here that will help you dig deeper, learn faster, like get a long lasting answer that helps you. And then my job then is just like ask a different question or say, what's the other question you could ask here? And that's just a skill that translates into every area.
And I love that about your classes too, because it really does focus on learning strategies and techniques that you can then use and utilize in multiple areas of your life. And it not only makes you a better tarot reader for other people, but it enhances your practice as well.
Yeah, for sure. And better communication with oneself. So before we jump off, I do want to ask about any resistance as you became more of your witchy, magical, enchanted self. What has that looked like? Because that is something a lot of folks struggle with. And I know in my life, like my mother-in-law, my grandparents, like it's just something that people are kind of like, you know, they don't want to talk about it. So I experienced that with some folks that are just like, I don't know, Sarah, but I guess I'm happy for you, I guess. And that's all we're going to talk about this.
Oh, yes.
And then I have people who are like, that's so interesting. Tell me all the things. And then I have friendships that have like fallen by the wayside, all like everything on that spectrum. So how has that looked for you?
100%. It's been a journey. Again, like growing up super duper Catholic, I was recently told, so I have one cousin that still speaks to me. Uh, and I mean, like, they'll speak to me. If I see them at an event or something, they'll say hi, but like, not allowed to talk about it. Like, I can talk about my kids. I can talk about being a stay-at-home mom, but everything else is off limits. So we just don't go to a whole lot of stuff. But I have one cousin that, still speaks to me and supports me and is encouraging. And she is a mompreneur as well. So she like understands. And she recently told me that my aunt prays for my soul. So I said, wonderful. Thank her for me. Like, that's a great thing. And yeah, I've had to have the conversations with my mom. My mom is 80 years old now. So my mom is very, very old, and she's also very old school. And so I've had to have many different conversations with her. It's not been easy. A lot of my friends, a lot of my family are not supportive, but that's why I'm so grateful to communities like Sisters Enchanted, because, they provide that community if you don't have it elsewhere. And I think you would be super impressed and surprised to realize how many people in your life right now, if you are not out of the broom closet, how many people in your life are broom curious?
Yes.
Because there are so many people who are broom curious. And like the minute you say, oh, well, I do tarot readings, all of a sudden the mask comes off and they're like,
all the hands go up.
And then, oh my gosh, calling you for every decision. Can you pull some cards on this? Can you pull some cards on this? Yeah. You'd be so surprised. Like the minute that you kind of step into who you are, how many people might surprise you and be accepted.
True. Oh my gosh. I feel like we could talk about so many things all day long, because there's so much we could keep talking about. But I want to wrap it up, but some really good things I want people to remember from this, that Sharon mentioned, that, all the good stuff's just on the other side of fear, which is really true. So whatever it is that you're afraid of, you're curious about, or you're like, uncomfortable, or you just are stuck on, there is definitely something amazing on the other side. It might be like waiting for it to show itself, but it will eventually. And really just sticking to who you are, which is what you've done, Sharon. You've not tried to be or do anything other than yourself. Even like you just mentioned being a mompreneur, which anyone who's been with us at the Sisters Enchanted for all 5 years of our being knows that how we looked 5 years ago is very different than how we look now, which is probably very different than we'll look 5 years out. But really just being yourself and not trying to be something else. I see so many people that want to be tarot readers, and they're like so bent on looking like a tarot reader or something, and it just doesn't work. Like you've never tried to be anything but yourself.
No.
And you have clients. You're getting paid.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only way to do it. You can't pretend to be something other than you are and then expect that to be living in your truth, because it's not. You have to be you. People want different personalities. There are people who will want your specific personality, and that's what you have to bet on.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. And then the other piece about imposter syndrome, which ties in great to what you just said, that your specific personality, people will want that. And it's, I mentioned we get here just the amount of people who see our stuff, people who don't like us and love to tell us about it. And it's just like, that's fine. Like it doesn't sound like it doesn't hurt, but I try to move on as fast as I can because, there's people I don't like, I'll reach out and tell them about it. That's not what I do, but I will never understand that. But that's fine. The people who are for you will be for you. And we did have one question we can answer real quick. It's a quick question. Do you choose your deck or do your clients choose the deck, Sharon, when you're doing like a show or something?
I do combo of tarot and oracle. So I have 2 decks that I do readings for other people with. And so I let my gut tell me which of those tarot decks to choose. And then I lay out all my oracle decks and I let them pick one for like a final card draw at the end.
I love that method because oracle cards are so vast And then
Like it's always a mic drop moment every single time. It's like, okay, we've been talking about this one theme for 45 minutes. Pick which of these 10 Oracle decks would you like? This one, great. Which of these 56 cards is it going to be? Boom. Oh my goodness. It's the theme we've been talking about for 45 minutes.
Like, imagine that.
Yeah, it's like a magic trick. Like I had one of my clients who I did readings for her whole family. So it was like her and her brother and her mom, and she sat and watched all of them. And at the end, she was just like, how are you doing this? They're picking the Oracle deck. And I'm just like, because it's not me, it's their guides.
It's so good.
It's not magic.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, if you all the people who are watching this, we do have a Facebook group, Expedition to Soul. It's like anybody can join it. And I'm pretty positive Sharon's in there. So if you,
I think I've done it like 6 times.
If you wanted to like ask her a question in the group, don't private message her on Facebook, but you could like tag her in there. I'm sure she'll answer. Yeah. And then we're going to also make sure we can find you on blueempresstarot.com.
Yeah.
blueempresstarot.com and on all the socials places, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Empress Tarot. And if you can't find Sharon for some reason, you can always shoot us an email and we will get you her contact info. But Blue Empress Tarot is where you can find her, and grab up one of her readings because she is a Sisters Enchanted graduate, and I can tell you that she won't disappoint for sure. All right. And if you want to learn tarot or want some of these strategies, I know that Anna and Christina have been popping the links in the comments this whole time.
Yeah.
So
Tarot Throwdown, Tarot Journey, Tarot Coach. They're all amazing.
Get into things. And hang out with Sharon.
Yeah.
She's in there. All right. Thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate it. And y'all, seriously, look her up. Blue Empress Tarot. You won't regret it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to hit end. Bye.
Bye.